All right, and welcome to Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B. I've got a guest from the Motor City Kneecap Biters page, Stephen King, in here. Go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about your background as a Lions fan.
Hello there. I'm Stephen King. I've been a Lions fan for, I guess, about 15, 20 years now, since about the early 2000s. I'm from just outside Toronto, Canada, so there's no NFL team in my area, and Detroit is one of the closest NFL cities to me. So that was certainly an inspiration on what made me a Lions fan to begin with, and that the blue and silver color scheme was definitely a big influence as well. I've always loved that about the Lions, and when the blue and silver waves, you got to stand and cheer the brave, right?
Amen. And Dan Spanos comes in and says, "What's up, guys? Good to see you, Dan. Glad you could join us. I see I got 8 viewers watching, and that's a good start. I got a Hey JB out there. I believe that's my buddy Quinn, because it says Facebook user. So unless you put Keegan Eckert comes in and says, "What's up, JB and Steven?" Steve Bauer. Steve Bauer says the same thing, pretty much. Hello, JB and Steven. I like keeping up with the comments because, you know, my viewers drive the show. I love doing this stuff. I just wanted to get yours. Michael Huck off of YouTube pops in. Not an Argonauts fan.
that too.
Oh, you are?
I am an Argo fan too.
Awesome, yes. Awesome.
Yeah, I do actually follow both CFL and NFL.
Look at this. This is my daughter, Danielle. Your daughter is watching. Hi, Danielle. Nice. Oh, yes, you finally did it, Quinn. Thank God. Yes, it is popping up. All right. What do you think so far of the offseason moves that have been made for the Lions?
Pretty, not too bad overall, all things considered. I'm definitely looking forward to what we do in the draft, this upcoming draft. But I was definitely glad to see us re-sign some of the players that we have re-signed. I think I was most surprised actually that we ended up re-signing Charles Harris in a good way. I just wasn't completely holding my breath on re-signing him at the time. And Tracy Walker, I've always kind of had a soft spot for him, so I was glad that things worked out, that he was able to come back at not too bad of a price either, and especially with our current situation with our need at safety at the moment.
Yes.
And DJ Chark, that was kind of an interesting one for me too. I think I've heard you mention him in the past, but it just caught me off guard, I guess, at the time. But once again, in a good way. It looks like it's a nice prove-it deal, and
okay. Let's get to a couple of these comments. What's up? It's the Chicken Nugget King here. He's also known as Cass Jones, a rapper out of Detroit. Steve Bauer says, it's freezing out for spring. Yes, it is. Keegan Eckert says, my question is, why bring him back from the Quintricia time? In all actuality, he was drafted by Quinn, but Patricia wasn't here when we got Jarrad Davis. His rookie year was under Caldwell in 2017.
That's right.
And then he goes, what's up, guys? I'm glad Jarrad Davis was brought back. I'm confident Campbell and Glenn will use him in the right spot this time around. Absolutely. That is the thing. If you remember right, Dan Campbell, in his first presser, actually started talking about the draft and everything else. He mentioned the fact that our second-round pick in the 2019 draft of being Jelani Tabai, he goes, I may or may not have broke the screen on my tablet or laptop. He also said, and Jarrad Davis is a hell of an athlete who has not been used in the right position. He played 3 years at Florida at outside linebacker and 1 year as a middle linebacker, which he had one great game against Michigan in the Orange Bowl, if I remember right. And that's what propelled him to, with his fast 40 time, of course, that's what propelled him to be the first round pick that he was, but we never utilized him where he should have been. I think JD is back is fine with me, but still hope they draft another linebacker. I still think they're going to draft 2 or 3 linebackers. We need depth.
We do.
And this is a deep linebacker draft. The two that we probably won't grab off the edge, we probably will not grab Ojabo unless he's there like in the third round. And the other one that we won't grab is Damone Clark because he just had a spinal neck fusion and is ruled out for the entire year.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that too.
So I do pay attention to all of it. It's been a cheap offseason and not a home run offseason, which I said it would probably be this if we either restructured Flowers or Vitae. We did restructure Vitae. I'll get to that comment from Dan Spanos in a second because it's funny. But he specifically said, I wish they'd have been using him correctly all along. And JD's great. We need linebackers. Absolutely. And then here it is, Dan Spanos. Patricia made him gain 30 pounds, which didn't help things either. Absolutely. And Davis and Anzalone were awesome together in Florida. That's right, for their national championship year. The year before that.
Yeah, I remember hearing about Davis making comments in his presser there. I didn't realize Anzalone was a Gator too.
The illegitimate stepfather of Dan Davis, of Jarrad Davis, says, how's it going, JB? Awesome show as usual. And John Robbins says, I'm here, Smokin' Jay. I'm glad to see you. Glad to talk football with everybody. I love the fact we brought Jarrad Davis back, and I am thinking that Aaron Glenn is going to use him more in that rotational outside rush end. And Keegan Eckert says the thing with our safety need that Okuda could move to safety if we need to. Yeah, but right now it's looking like he's actually not missing a step according to the reports there in Detroit from his recovery. He's been working out with a few of our receivers, including the one we traded for, Trinity Benson, on becoming a better corner overall. So I don't know if we'll move him, but we have enough depth with 9 corners on the roster, with signing the only guy from the Chiefs roster that had almost as bad as a passer rating against as Okuda did his rookie year. Everybody can say what they want, that they think Mike Hughes is good. He's not good in the red zone. His QBR against in the red zone was 126.9 and 5 touchdowns against. Dan Davis says, I'm glad Jarrad Davis is back. Now I can dig my Jarrad Davis jersey out of my closet. Absolutely. We need Aiden Hutchinson. We need multiple players than just Hutchinson. But yes, I want Hutchinson too. I am so hoping that the Jags go O-line and Hutchinson falls in our laps. But here's the big thing. There are 7 teams that want to trade up, and all of them make sense. The Texans even want to trade up, giving up both of their first-round picks, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and next year's second to get the 2 to make sure no one can trade ahead of them. I would take that and run in a heartbeat. You can say Hutchinson won't be there, but Trevor Belke has said that they are loving Evan Neal still. So, and he's the GM. That means more than what the fans say from the Jags and what those so-called draft experts say. Until I hear Trevor Belke say something different. You know what? If we are at 3 and they are trading up to get an O-lineman, let's say Neal goes 1. Texans need O-linemen. If they're trading up, they're probably going Ekonwu, the second one. And that's just so the Jets don't end up with them or they have to wait. Oh, my boyfriend is watching. He's Daniel Pringle. Okay. All right, daughter. If we draft Willis and fall, that will be the end of Dan and Brett. Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree if he fails. Yes. Oh, wait. Here we go. I'd take that so fast before Houston could change their mind. Another one of the trade rumors is the Jets at 4 and 10 trying to trade up. That gives you options too. And at 4, I don't mind Kyle Hamilton as much as I would at 2. I don't want a defensive back at 2. I want edge, linebacker. I'd even take an O lineman before I took a safety at 2. When was the last time you heard a GM show their hand before the draft?
Bob Quinn.
Yeah. If we can get Hutch and a good linebacker or safety in the first, we will be sitting pretty. Absolutely. Steve Bauer, I'd love the Houston deal. John Robinson, that Houston draft is a no-brainer. Dan Spanos, let me address that because some of these comments are coming in from YouTube because I'm live on YouTube as well. So some of these. Lloyd or Dean? I would take Lloyd over Dean. Dean had a horrible pro day and a horrible combine. Plus, he ran even slower than what Devin Lloyd did. And that was the only knock on Devin Lloyd. Trade rumors that we trade back with Seahawks and end up with 9 in DK. I don't see that. Now, if we trade back, that gives us options to take Lloyd and Walker or the Greek monster edge rusher, George Kalaftis. Hi, Smokin Jeremy. You guys rock with the little football emoji. Thank you, Joseph Host. The other trade rumor, like I said, was the Jets at 4 and 10 moving up to 2. I like the Houston trade better just because it gives us picks this year in the later rounds as well. You gain 4 picks for giving up 1 spot. Chris Bolin says, I'm good with a trade back. Another one that's interesting, and I don't know if I'd do it, but it is a proven safety in the NFL. It would be Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Steelers, the 20th pick to move up to 2. Now, that would be interesting but then you got to sit behind the 3 picks of Philly and pray to God that either Lloyd or Dean falls. You don't want Dean. You want it to be Lloyd in that situation. We need so much on D. And Peepers, you mean Peppers? Yes, absolutely. I have said that. I would love to bring Peppers in on a prove-it deal. Did we ever talk about the Lions being a dark horse team to go after Baker Mayfield? Yeah, I did cover that on my last show. Dan Davis has a question directed at you, Stephen.
Okay.
Stephen King, what do you make of all this Malik Willis hype? Do you think they could take him, or do you believe it's all smokescreen? I'm thinking smokescreen is what he says.
I'm leaning more towards the smokescreen as well. I'm not saying Jarrad Davis or Jared Goff, is necessarily the future QB, but there's just so many other needs that the Lions need that QB's not really at the top of my priority. So unless Malik Willis falls to 32, maybe, but even then, no. QB wouldn't really be the first thing that I'd be eyeing at that time, and I don't think he drops that far either.
Okay, I'm going to throw out an interesting stat for you. In Malik Willis's career versus ranked teams, which has been 3,
okay,
his QBR in college has been 47.2 against ranked opponents.
Ooh.
That's not even NFL caliber. Christopher Bolin did his spelling correction, Pepper, LOL. Dan Spano says, this is much better than Facebook. Phew. And Chris Bolin, I think Mayfield would cost too much. Believe it or not, I don't think he'd cost as much as people think because he's been good for 1 season and trash in the other 2. But granted, last year he was injured a lot. He wasn't total trash, but he was just mediocre at best. I just think giving up draft capital for any players where you don't get picks or players multiple picks back, or at least another first rounder, it does not make sense to make that trade. I was so glad I know there was one trade rumor that I saw about trading for Baker Mayfield. We give up the 32 and the 34 for Baker Mayfield and then trade Baker Mayfield in the 2 for Kyler Murray. I said, you know what I call that? I call that a rebuild busting trade. You just gave up your first 3 picks in the draft to get Kyler Murray. Mayfield's not coming here. I know he's not. Dan Spanos, I don't want a quarterback, but Willis had no talent around, so it's impossible to judge him by stats. Well, but everybody did it with Matt Stafford. Everybody's done it with every QB that's ever rolled through the Lions, so that's why I do that. Keegan Eckerd, Steven, do you think we might have a chance to get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud in next year's draft if we don't go quarterback this year?
You never know. Got to take a one draft at a time at this point. Depends where we end up picking next year, and I think that's going to be a big part of it, and depending on how Jared Goff does this season too, and whether Holmes and Campbell want to keep him or whether they really think they do have to move on from him.
Okay. All right. Steve Bauer says, give Goff a year with the play calling he had at the end of the season last season and pick Christian Watson. I think he'll be fine. I would love to get Christian Watson, but there's rumors he's going to go answer my question at 7:42. Let me get back to it there, John. Just give me a moment. Great safety makes the D-line better, but the great D-line can make up for an average safety. Absolutely. I have said this. You look at the year that we did have a great defense. Why was it so great? We had mediocre in the backfield. I mean, Louis Delmas was awesome at safety, but everybody else around him was average. And we had a great front seven, which made all of those better. So, yes, I completely agree. The D-line, the front seven makes a big...
All about from the trenches
out.
Wait,
let's go here. Mayfield comes here, lose draft capital, and Goff's cap hit. No thanks. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Matt Stafford played for Georgia in college. Willis isn't the pro slate. Big difference between Liberty and Georgia. Absolutely. And here's the thing. Malik Willis was at Auburn, and he played in 2 games before he transferred out because Bo Nix beat him out of the starting job in season. In those 2 games, he had fantastic stats, but he only did 7 attempts. He completed 5 in one and 7 in the other. Woohoo! Yeah, he was awesome. But let's break it down even bigger. He couldn't beat out Bo Nix. Bo Nix was so bad of a QB prospect this year, he decided to stay in school another year and transfer to Oregon to get a better draft stock for next season to try and learn a different offensive scheme that would fit his talents. That being said, if you can't beat out Bo Nix, who is a day 3 prospect, and you went to a small school where you can look like a stud, how the hell are you a first-round pick? I think we'll be much better this season under Goff with the receiving coach. Mayfield's a big baby, in my opinion. Absolutely.
Yep.
Dan Spanos, wasn't Bo's dad a big donator to Auburn? Yes, but Bo Nix and Malik Willis were both 5-star recruits the year they came into Auburn. Answer is that you aren't. He was some kind of bigwig. Yes, he was a big donator and an Auburn alum. But like I said, both Willis and Bo were 5-star recruits drafted either the same year or within a year of each other. Look at the last few Super Bowl winning teams. They were QBs on other teams, not franchise QB. We make the D and O-line better, and we can win with any QB. Absolutely. The O-line is so improved from when Stafford was here, just with the few picks we made in the last couple of years on the O-line and the depth that we have. To only be running with 60% of your starting O-line for 82% of your games in a 17-game season and end up 6th in the league. Wow. That is a great O-line.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Spanos, all I'm saying is Willis didn't have that kind of backing. No, he didn't. But his play didn't win him the job either. He got pulled in a game. After he threw his 3rd game, he had 4 attempts, 0 completions, and 2 picks. Stellar. I'm saying Willis probably at career best will be a Geno Smith in this league.
Geno Smith. Okay.
Now you have me sounding like a Willis backer. What the hell are you doing to me, Jeremy? Dan, I love it. Facebook user says, "Hi, JB. This is Eric Whitson." Hi, Eric. He is another administrator of a Lions page, which I also help him with, and it's a good page. Okay, we're fine on offense. Building the defense is what we need to do. Absolutely.
Yep.
Michael Huck, you mean Fraley? Hank Fraley needs credit with the O-line. Yeah, because he's been here 3 years. And Dan, I get it. You're just trying to be fair, but I can't be fair with a guy that goes from the Liberty Flames and becomes a first-round pick. I just can't get on board with it. I wonder if that's a barber school. I know, Michael Huck. That's why I was correcting it for you. I try not to say the incorrect one because if I do, it makes me look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Another one of the trade scenarios was a Seattle one, but it did not include Metcalf. It included Lockett, and that's where I checked out. Metcalf was taking off the trade block by Pete Carroll and the GM. They're trying to work out an extension deal with him. Willis Pro Day was downright horrible. Missed so many throws, yet so many people still think he is a top prospect. Absolutely. I mean, when you complete 2 of 10 passes over 20 yards, and 8 of them is either at their feet or so far over their head they can't reach it, that's an issue. Like I said, he has an excellent arm. He can throw it through a brick wall, but if that brick wall is not 5 yards in front of him, he might not hit it.
Good way to analyze it.
I mean, look at the pass that he threw where the guy had Calvin Austin III, an excellent receiver that knows how to play the game in college, and he had to dig that ball within an inch off the ground just to catch it. That was one of his 2 receptions or 2 completions out of the 4 passes he made.
No, that won't fly in the NFL.
Yep. The only thing I was impressed with Willis is the fact that he did have enough pocket presence to get out of the pocket and run at the right time. He had some big gains. Other than that, I wasn't impressed. And I still say, and I'm gonna take it to my grave, the quarterback that'll be the Mac Jones of this year, most pro ready, is Matt Corral of Ole Miss. And the one with the biggest upside, and it's not named Willis, is Desmond Ridder.
From Cincy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember, I think it was just the other night that you mentioned about Matt Corral, too, being then comparing him to Mac Jones.
That O-line was horrible at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, don't let me pick a single one of them. Willis may be one good throw at his pro day, and all of a sudden they think he's a top 3 pick. Crazy. He was wearing a T-shirt and shorts and had 0 pressure on him. Absolutely, Dan. And think about it. That O-line was so bad that they weren't blitzing. It was just D linemen rushing the QB, and not a single QB on Dan Campbell's O-line had time to throw. Sam Howell, again, didn't have to make passes. He used his legs and got him back in the game. And I was more impressed with his running than I was with Willis's, but that's another story. Except the hands of Pickett, where do you think he'll end up being drafted? The O-line was bad, even though PFF said we had a top 12 O-line. Our O-line wasn't bad. You believe it or not, 35 sacks is about an average to good O-line for giving up sacks in a season. If you remember just 2 years ago, Matt Stafford was sacked 28 times by the 8th game.
Yeah.
Dan Spano, Corral has a bigger arm than Riddle and can move around the pocket better. Absolutely. Willis, to me, when I watched the Senior Bowl, was a one read and run quarterback. If his first read wasn't open, he ran. And then he couldn't hit his first read, so that was an issue too. You was talking O-line. I thought that's what you said. My bad. No, I was talking about the O-line at the Senior Bowl. Facebook here, y'all hate Willis so much. Yes, vehemently, with a passion. I want Willis as much as I want to drink that crap that you have to drink before a colonoscopy. Oh. John Robinson, Jim Plunkett, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, Jeff Hostetler, Nick Foles, and any Washington QB besides Theismann, they say you have to have a franchise quarterback. Steve Bauer, Willis is garbage with a fire on top of it. I think if we could have all 5 starters play all season, we will have a top 3 O-line. You can hate the pick, but not the person. He's a good kid. Yeah, he may be a good kid, and he may be smart, and he may say all the right things in the interviews. You're absolutely right. As far I'm talking about, if we picked him, that's how much I'd hate it. I'd almost not watch Lions games if we picked him in the first round. It would mean that much to me. I would rather take, let's see, at 2. If Aiden Hutchinson's not there, Trayvon Walker, if he's not there, I would even reach for Devin Lloyd before I took Malik Willis. Before I take Malik Willis,
hell yes. Yeah. What about Kyle Hamilton?
Yeah, he would be my 4th option. Just because I'm so against taking a defensive back in the first 4 picks.
Yeah. And
I don't want any QBs in this year's draft. As a matter of fact, I like a few of the QBs that didn't even get invited to the combine are more than likely going to be UDFAs. I like some of the guys from out of the FCS better than I like the guys out of the main schools. Eric Barriere of Eastern Washington University, 6'3", 215 pounds, can throw the ball just like down the field with accuracy because he had a 68.2% completion percentage his senior year. He threw for over 4,000 yards in 12 games and also had 18 rushing touchdowns. Ritter might work out in the pros depending on where he goes. Oh, wait. Why are the Steelers and other winning or wanting to trade up for Willis and this loser fan base hates Willis? Sounds like Jim Crow. You know what? You don't have to make it. I've watched Willis's game film. I don't like him. It has to do with his game. It has nothing to do with him as a person. Which trade back offer do you think is most likely to get considered and actually be presented to the Lions? You know, it's going to be one of these O-line needy teams that wants to move up. It'll be either the Texans, the Jets, even the Giants are looking to get rid of both of their first-round picks for one first-round pick because they don't have the money to pay 2 first-round picks this year. I would take that Giants and say, hey, I'll give you the 32nd. And then have the 2, the 5, and the 7.
That's what it was, 5 and 7 they pick, right?
Yeah. The only hole in our O-line is Vitae. We should be looking in the future of this team. We should take a close look at Daryl Women's or O-line next year's draft. Believe it or not, Vitae ranked in the top 12 as a guard. And he only missed one game this season. We need more help on defense than we need a QB this year. Not hating on anyone. Absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I actually think he got a snub for the Pro Bowl because he played at that level this year. He gave up 1 sack. 1. Well, so what do you want to talk about, Steven?
It was kind of just going with the flow and just seeing what the process is all about. But I guess I'm partially curious just to get your thoughts on Sheila's interview with the reporter the other day. I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. Danny Rogers.
Yep, I was just going to say It had to be the hot one.
Yeah.
Vaitai as a tackle was bad, but as a guard, he is solid. Yes, absolutely. And Chris Bolin says, I agree with you, sir. All right. Here's an interesting one that I heard actually on ESPN radio. The trade rumor that Tom Brady wants to go to the Dolphins is actually real.
Oh, really?
It's not going to happen because Bruce Arians doesn't want to let him out of that contract and let him go somewhere else.
Of course.
He's like, no, don't leave us. Who would you rather have, Tua Tagovailoa or Tom Brady? That's a no-brainer.
It really is.
I think even Bill Belichick would rather have Tom Brady than Mac Jones. Just saying.
I can see that too. I still remember when Tua was drafted there. It was the hype with Malik Willis almost reminds me of the hype with him at the time. It was.
Well, he's got a couple people to fight with for that starting outside linebacker job. Romeo Okwara has hit the rehab train, so he's looking like he'll be on track to start the season. Charles Harris was just re-signed, so I think he's going to be thrown into that rotation. It'll be Charles Harris and Davis on the one side and the Okwara brothers on the other. Where we need help at is I don't think Jameson Williams will fall to 34, but with the trade with the Giants grab Walker and Lloyd, well, if we still have 2, you could grab Walker, you could grab Lloyd and Sauce Gardner. How good would that be? You just totally revamped the whole defense in 3 picks. And then at 34, if Jameson Williams isn't there, you could go for Christian Watson. You could go for George Pickens. You could go for Justin Ross. You could go for Eric Ekusama, the big wide receiver out of Texas Tech. I mean, you got lots of options there at 34 for a wide receiver. But with signing DJ Shark, are they really going to do that right away? Because if DJ Shark has a good year, they're probably going to re-sign him because of having more cap space next season. I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios that we can't play out till the end of the season. I'm still saying this is a 6+ win team as it sits right now. Because does this roster look better than it did last year at this time? Yes.
Absolutely.
Joseph O says, great show, Jeremy. Go Lions. It means to mean he has to hop off. I love this time of year. I cannot wait. I've been looking at the needs, and you know what's funny? There are only 4 wide receivers, 4 teams that actually need wide receivers, and almost all of them pick after pick 20.
Oh, really?
Will we still find a good safety at the 66 pick? I will give you a few names. There will be Verone McKinley, Sterling Weatherford of Miami, Ohio, who's a strong safety at 6'3" and 220. And then there's Smoke Monday out of Auburn. All three of those would be available at 66 and possibly even at 97. With all the wide receivers moving in free agency, do you think wide receivers get drafted higher than there should? There is a chance. Of course, Brady can't stay home with his kids and comes out of retirement. And now there's a rumor of him going to the Dolphins. That will just put him back in retirement. Actually, Keegan, that's where he wants to go. Look at the trade that the Dolphins just did. They just got Tyreek Hill. You get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who actually did stay healthy. Surprise, surprise. Wow. That's a fast wide receiver core. Steve Bauer says, I still want Sue. Wait, there's a lot of us who do.
That would be nice.
And Sue's still a free agent at this time.
He is.
If Sue agreed to a contract, I'd be cutting Brockers tomorrow. And Nick Williams, both of them. You're out of here.
Oh yeah, I forgot we still had Nick Williams. I was thinking his contract was up. What is it, this year that he signed through?
Yeah, it was a 2-year contract, and he skipped a year due to COVID.
Oh, I see.
But cutting both of them saves $8 million, and Sue only made $6 million last year. So we saved $4 million, then we saved the other $2 million. Oh my goodness, that's Sue's salary.
Exactly. You never know.
I still think a prove-it deal for Jabril Peppers, because if he can't start, he'd still be depth, and it's better than what we got at safety right now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he'd be the starter, and it's not going to stop you from drafting a top-notch safety. I mean, he'd be on a prove-it deal. He just came off of an ACL tear that he got back in October of last year, but he is rehabbing already, which means he's healthy and would probably pass a physical. If he's rehabbing, his speed, guess what else that does? He's a great punt returner. We don't have to see Khalif Raymond fall to his knees every other punt he catches.
He just signed with Atlanta today, I think, actually.
Who, Peppers?
No, Khalif Raymond. Or no.
No, we resigned Khalif Raymond.
No, sorry, it's the other fellow we had last year. I think it's Hodge. I'm sorry.
Oh, Kadarrell Hodge?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
One of the team leaders in drops. Good to see you later.
Yeah.
Steve Bauer and Sue would fire up the team. Absolutely. He is a very motivational player. Oh, Nick Williams is gone. Hallelujah.
Even better.
Okay, so you cut Brockers, who has an $8 million contract with a $4 million dead cap. That still covers 2/3 of Sue's. If we brought Sue back, our new battle would be biting kneecaps and stomping legs. LOL.
I love it.
As long as it's Karen Rodgers, I'm good with it.
Yeah, stomp away.
By the way, if you look at the rosters top to bottom right now, with Thielen being on the trade back, if he's gone, I still have it as Minnesota is having the best wide receiver core. The Lions are second. And the Bears are actually third right now because all you got with the Packers is Lazard and Cobb.
Jeez.
I don't get it. What are they doing in Green Bay? I guess they're going to use every pick on a wide receiver and see if one sticks.
That's the vibe I'm getting too. Because, yeah, they want to. I hope they don't, but yeah, they got to get Aaron some weapons.
Could someone spike Will Harris's Gatorade with a banned substance? That would be classic. But believe it or not, as a corner, he was better than he ever was at safety. I think they got him in the right role as a rotational player to bring into the box in blitzing situations. And also, he didn't do bad covering the slot receivers. He just does not have the headspace to be able to play center field properly. He takes bad angles out there at safety. He did much better. Oh, I knew you were kidding. I thought it was hilarious. It was great. I'm in talks with the owner of Bay City Bills where I'm doing my live remote for for the first round of the draft, because I will be live April 28th from Bay City Bills right here in Bay City, Michigan, located on Michigan Avenue. I am in talks with him about being a sponsor of the show.
Nice.
And John Robbins says, I did like him as a corner. Lions beating the Lackers. I haven't heard that since Sue was here. I actually think the Bears have a better receiving core than the Packers right now. I think that's the worst receiving core in the division until after the draft, because they haven't addressed it in free agency.
No.
But that $153 million 3-year deal for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, let's win now, but let's get rid of everybody.
That's right.
And guess what? The way we beat Zadarius Smith in that first half against the Packers is the way you beat Zadarius Smith every time you play against him. You tire him out by running at him because he takes bad angles and he over pursues on running backs. So that is how you beat Zadarius Smith. And it's the same way you beat Donnell Hunter, which is exactly what we did against the Vikings. So now their two outside linebackers can't tackle running backs. Do you know how good that sounds? Because we got Swift, Swaggy, and Netflix, Craig Reynolds. I don't understand why we haven't cut Godwin and Gavuke yet.
No, I guess we haven't, have we?
Talking about cornerbacks, hoping if he stays healthy and improves on last season. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Dan Davis says, I think the Packers are using both of their late round picks on wide receivers more than likely.
Wouldn't be surprised.
John Robbins says, do you think if we sign Sue that he will rekindle his hatred of Rodgers? It's not rekindle. Did you not watch the NFC Championship between the Bucks and the Green Bay Packers? He's half the reason why they couldn't monopolize on the 3 picks that Brady threw in that second half. He still hates Rodgers with a passion. I would love to see him here to face him twice.
So would I.
I hear the Packers are looking at Julio Jones and Jarvis Landry. If they lose out, man, that would be hilarious. Well, Julio Jones, you know what he is? He's Roy Williams was for the Lions. Great move the chains receiver, but can't catch a cold in the red zone. Oh, no. I mean, it's factual. He's never had a double-digit touchdown season.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize that.
Dan Davis says, I forgot Iggy Puke was still on the roster. And yes, that was intentional. I know Dan very well. I want to thank everybody for hopping in, but real quick, I would like to say a word about our sponsor. A1 Tire and Auto Repair and TNT Auto Sales at Cawcolin and Euclid Roads. They have great used cars, good used or new tires available at a very fair price. We also have 2 other tire locations. There is the 1023 store on Broadway here in Bay City, and the one where I work at now is at 945 East Genesee in Saginaw. Come on in, check us out. We have some great deals. Speaking of which, one of our watchers who's not on tonight because he's probably on his podcast, Detroit Dom, actually drove up on a Thursday, got his tires mounted in the last hour I was at work. Then we went to dinner and did a podcast from where we had dinner.
Nice.
And he can vouch that I know what I'm doing on making a car ride better by putting good tires and well-balanced tires on a car. That being said, I don't know. Have we covered everything, I think?
I think so for the time being. Yeah.
And here's what I want to say about this year's QB class. Not just Willis, all of them. There was 9 QB needy teams, and 8 of them has either traded or signed a QB this year. What does that tell you about the QB class? Including the Pittsburgh Steelers. They signed Mitch Trubisky.
It's key.
because they all still have Dwayne Haskins and they still have Mason Rudolph on the roster. That's 3 quarterbacks. We have 4 if you count Steven Montez, and now there's talk of another guy that's a UDFA that we might be signing. I don't know, but that means it'd be 5 QBs on this roster between the practice squad and active squad. Oh, Keegan Eckert comes in and says the right comment about the QB class. It's shit.
Sums it up.
I would, like I said, there's Eric Barriere, Jack Cohn. He's considered a day 3 possible UDFA out of Notre Dame. Skylar Thompson out of Western Kentucky. Yes, he put up those Joe Burrow type numbers, but you have to look at his level of competition too. Bailey Zappi is another one that is good, but he's probably going to be a 3rd rounder, and I don't think we'd be going QB there either because the defense and some of the offense is further behind than what the QB is. I think we're fine at starter. Do I think we have our backup on the roster? God, I hope not.
No.
Carson Strong. I will give you my evaluation of Carson Strong. Excellent downfield passer. The problem with Carson Strong is his knees. He's had 3 surgeries on one knee and 2 surgeries on the other, which means he's already where Joe Namath was at the end of his career to start. That's not a good start.
No, it isn't.
And he's really not that accurate either. He has a great deep ball, and he had a great wide receiver in Romeo Dobbs that could run under the ball from wherever he threw it, which that helps a lot when you got speed. Speed. That is what our team needs. We need speed because with speed, you can have playmakers. You can teach everything else. You can't teach speed.
Speed. Absolutely.
Which it depends on the age because there's a way to teach it when kids are young, but there's not a way to teach it when people are older.
It's fair.
And Jermaine Jackson, I was high on him until I saw that he dropped 40 pounds between the Senior Bowl and the Combine, which is why he did run a fast 40.
Oh.
But if you drop 40 pounds as a D end, you're not even a linebacker anymore.
I didn't. I missed that about Johnson. I think.
Boye Mafe looks good. Amari Barno, that kid is fast. Did you see that 40 time he ran as a DN?
No, what did he run?
4.36.
Whoa.
That's what's his name that the Ravens drafted? Parsons' teammate fast. Jason Owe? Right?
Oh, okay, yep. Gee, that's crazy.
Who was second in rookie sacks last year, right behind Parsons by 2?
Wow.
Are you guys going to pay attention to some USFL names? What do you think of Shea Patterson going number 1 to the Michigan Panthers? Oh my goodness. Shea Patterson going number 1 to the Michigan Panthers is like Ryan Leaf to the Chargers over Peyton Manning. Speaking of
when's the
Romeo
USFL even start?
What are your thoughts on him? Would you consider him as a possible choice at some point in this draft? 3rd round or later, I'd be okay with Dobbs. I don't think he's worth a 2nd round pick. He didn't run anywhere near as fast as projected. I mean, and a lot of them didn't. Look at how many guys didn't run as fast as they were. Treylon Burks was projected to run a 4.4. He ran a 4.55. Kyle Hamilton was projected to run a 4.3 to 4.4 as a safety. He ran a 4.59. Devin Lloyd was predicted to run 4.4 to 4.5. He ran 4.55. You know, or 4.65, excuse me, as a linebacker. Oh, let's ask Aaron Robertson's on his thoughts on Johnson, LOL. I think the Michigan Panthers are in trouble at quarterback because when your starter is Shea Patterson and your backup's Paxton Lynch, that's not a good combination. I don't even think they'll win 500% of their games. I don't think they'll be 500 this year. Because remember, it's all at one site, a neutral site in Alabama. I can't remember what city it's in. But all the teams play on the same field. You know why? because nobody wanted to rent out NFL stadiums to a lesser product. It's not like it was back in the day where it's easy to do that. Plus, they're not backed by Donald Trump's money.
Yeah. When's that season actually even start?
Next month it's supposed to start. I think it's April 12th or April 16th or
Oh, is
something
it?
like that. I might watch a game just to see because it's football. It's
Right.
football in the spring. I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
Just like I watched the XXL. Just like 2 years ago, I watched the AAF, which
Right.
I actually was impressed with a lot of the games after week 3. There was some good football being played. And another one of those guys that the Lions should have kept and didn't, in Jeremy Ross, was returning kicks for touchdowns and punts for touchdowns for that the Commanders or Commodores team or whatever that was. I was waiting for Lionel Richie to jump up and start singing Easy or something. And what do you think?
Jeremy Ross.
Yeah, he was actually not bad as a receiver, but he was fast. The kid was fast.
Yeah, he was.
I liked him. I wish we'd have kept him. Andre Roberts, he was another one that was in that league who's still in the NFL now. He got found again because of that league.
No kidding.
Yep.
Where's he now?
I don't know, but I know he was returning kicks last year.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. I think he averaged 21.2 yards a return. That's actually pretty decent.
Not bad at all.
Well, that being said, I think we covered everything. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Check me out on Monday. I'll have 2 or 3 more Lions trivia questions to go on the show. And also, we'll be having Mark Oram from Oram's Forum as a guest on Monday. Thanks for tuning in to Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B. Thank you to Stephen King for being my guest today. And every Saturday, I would like to bring at least 1 up to 3 regular fans. So if you want to be on the show, drop a comment and links, and I will be there to let you into the show. Hopefully, Sleepy Joe Biden won't do that for the USFL this year. I think he's already doing it by raising gas prices. Everybody can say what you want. Tom Brady, 1 of 2 things happened with Tom Brady. Gas went to $5 a gallon, and Giselle went to him. You want gas money? You're working for it, bitch. Or after 2 months of sitting at home, Tom Brady just looked around and said, "Fuck these kids."
Or a bit of both.
My boyfriend does. Danny, what is that? Your boyfriend does what? Or Daniel Pringle, if you want to comment. Well, again, thank you, everybody, for chiming in. Been great seeing you. Have a great night. One Pride. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll send you a link to share with them next week, Danny.